Bishop Gregory Lightner, and this is Pastor Karen Lightner, and we are the hosts of Is Love Enough? And do we have a topic for our Valentine's Day special today?
Yes, under the covers, how to
keep it spicy.
Yes.
But before we get started with our show today, we want to talk a little bit about WYTV7.
Yes, WYTV7.org is a nonprofit television station that sponsors shows just like ours to help educate, empower, and encourage our community. Please consider donating by going to WYTV7.org and click the red button and donate now.
Click the red button and donate now. Now, before we dive into the questions, I want to say this about Valentine's Day. A lot of times, sometimes as Christians, as pastors, we don't think that we can celebrate Valentine's Day or be romantic or be intimate because of the church. But the church has nothing to do with your romantic, intimate time between you and your spouse. So I'm encouraging every pastor, every bishop, whatever you are in the kingdom, if you are married or seeing someone, take Valentine's Day, make it special, and make it spicy.
Yeah. Right.
All right. Well, let's dive into our first question, Pastor Lightner.
You want to pull for me?
I'll pull for you.
Thank you. Ooh, that's a big one. Okay. My wife and I have been having a lot of financial difficulties, which leads to a lot of arguments. This has affected our love life. I want to do something special for Valentine's Day, but my budget is very limited. What can I do to make this Valentine's Day special, romantic, and intimate?
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. Might have to look at that question to answer all of that. I think the first thing you need to do before Valentine's Day comes, which is before you get to Valentine's Day, I know you're doing this on Valentine's, but sit down with your spouse and have a conversation about the financial troubles first, and in a neutral place somewhere where you can talk, and then reason that out first, and then start planning your Valentine's. Valentine's doesn't have to be very expensive, but it can be fun and romantic at the same time.
Yes, I agree. Because sometimes talking, especially with finances and stuff, change the environment. Just change the mood, just like you say, and talk about it, because it does make a difference. You know. And just like I know you and you know me, I know your likes, you know my likes. So you can incorporate it and make it as special as you want it to be.
And I would also say to him, when making it romantic, do some romantic gestures. When you get up in the morning, do something very nice. Leave a note in the bathroom, or leave a note on your side of the bed, or leave a note in her car. Put a single rose on her seat. Go to Bath and Body. Right now they're having sales, and get some spray, or doesn't have to be that, any kind of spray she likes, and just leave little romantic gestures throughout the house during the day, and that way it builds up to a bigger romantic night at the end. Yes, make it spicy that
That's
night.
Right. That's right. That's good.
Yeah, that was cool.
Okay. My husband spends the majority of his free time hanging out with the boys. Most of them are single and in multiple relationships. He makes me feel like the only thing I am good for is having babies.
I'm gonna let you tackle that one first, Pastor.
Woo. Well, if you like hanging with the boys, maybe there's a lot she can do. I mean, at home, she can go in and get a 90 something sexy to put on to grab his attention. Draw some bath water, make it the scene romantic, take his mind off, wanting to hang out with the boys. Put all the attention on you. And I think that'll help steer his attention.
And I think also she can do if he's a sports fan. I'm not a sports fan. Pastor Karen is a sports fan.
That's right.
In our relationship, she likes basketball, football. I used to watch football a lot before my dad passed, so it's iffy with me. But I will go sit in the living room with her while they're watching a football or basketball game on the big screen TV, even though I'm not interested in the game, I'm interested in spending time with her. So a lot of time, wives miss that opportunity of spending time with their husband because they're not interested in the sport. You don't have to be interested in the sport, but you want to spend time with him. So go out there, sit on the couch, make jokes with him, ask, be inquisitive about the game, and do that. And as Pastor Karen said, wear something nice and walk in front of the TV. I'll guarantee you his mind will be off the game and on you. So far as him making her feel.
She don't have to wear nothing at all if she don't want it.
Yeah.
Birthday suit.
Birthday suit. Just walk right in front of the TV. He will forget the game. You
know about that, right?
Yeah. You're supposed to tell it, Pastor. But as far as him making her feel like she's only good for babies, I think that's a lack of intimate time, yes. A lack of having that time with the two of them, connecting other than sex, because you got to have a good connection within your couple, within your marriage, other than just having physical sex.
Yes, I agree.
And the other thing I'll say before we pull in one more question is that when you're making that connection, men make that connection outside of the bedroom. So you're not putting her in a place where she's thinking that you're making an effort to just get sex. And I know some women do feel like their husbands only use them for sex and leaves them feeling empty and lonely, and that's not what it should do.
No, because that intimacy part is what we love. We love the cuddling. We love the holding. We love the touching and all of that, before the actual act, hold me, cuddle me. I love it. That's just what we love.
Yeah.
Instead of just going straight to it. Okay, love me first. Okay?
Right. And I think that's a teachable moment for some men. Like some women need to actually have a conversation with their husband and say, hey, slow down, take a breath, apply brakes. I ain't going nowhere. I'm not leaving, but let's take this a little slower. And then sometimes you have to, as women, you have to teach him how to slow down and take his time and apply what needs to be applied in the right places. That's right.
It works.
And it works. That will definitely make it spicy.
Definitely. Okay, let's take another one. I'll let you. Okay. This says, I think my husband is bored with me, or he has lost the desire to be intimate with me. We used to have a very passionate love life. Now it seems like I am living in a deep freezer. How do I get the heat back in the bedroom?
Wow. I would say the first thing that needs to be done for some men is medical. Sometimes it's medical, right? And instead of the man talking to his spouse about what's going on with his own body, he will shut down and not say, okay, baby, I'm having an issue. And a lot of times it's medical, assuming that it's a loving, caring relationship and there's nothing going on the outside of the marriage. Then a lot of times it's medical. There's a problem going on with his body, medical. And if you take him to a doctor and get that looked at, sometimes that's all it takes, is having a conversation. And a lot of men are very self-conscious about their bodies. They're very self-conscious. So it's kind of a taboo thing to talk about something's going on with me. Women's issues are all over TV everywhere. Start a commercial and see that anyhow, anywhere, every day. This is out there. But for men, it still carries a lot of taboo. A lot of times men wrap their manhood or their manliness up in their body, and if something's wrong, they feel less than a man. So they can't verbalize that, or they don't know how to talk that out.
Yes, but it is difficult for some, because that's like just like you said, it's an iffy subject to even talk up or bring up. So I think once that problem is settled and both get together and communicate, okay, this is what needs to be done, and that we got to do it this way. Do things. Sometimes you got to do things differently. You have to do whatever's going to work, but to please both parties.
Yeah, sometimes, and once you get that sorted out, sometimes you have to do things something different. Set up a romantic picnic in the living room, providing that your kids are gone. You don't want to scare the kids to death. But set a romantic.
What's got it for life?
What's got him for life? Set a romantic picnic up in the living room. You could do different things to spark his interest back. A lot of times when people have been married for a long time, both of them kind of get, well, is that's her, or well, that's him. So you have to try to make sure that you are being first intimate, and second, connecting on that level, and then thirdly, having a physical connection that is satisfying to both parties.
Yeah, you definitely got to romance. Just like we women like to be romanced. The husband like to be romance as well.
Yeah, I like to be romanced. You do a good job. Yeah, you do a good job.
Yeah, but they do.
Yeah, we do. So sometimes as women, you forget that your husband wants to be romanced every now and then. So romance him. Remember, men are very visual creatures.
Yes.
We are very visual. So cook him dinner, serve it on a platter. You could be the platter.
Oh,
yeah, that's a good idea.
Yes.
And just make it really, really nice, and those things will spark back the spiciness in the marriage. First, make sure it's medical. Find out, is something going on medical. Then second, have a frank conversation. And then thirdly, implement what you guys talk about. And I think that would help her out a lot.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I love the platter.
You like the platter?
Yes.
We got some chocolate strawberries.
Oh, okay.
Well, let's talk about what's on our table before we go next question.
Okay.
So on our table, we have a bottle of sparkling cider, because we don't drink. So we have a bottle of sparkling cider. If you do, that's get you the favorite champagne. And we have some chocolate dipped strawberries, and we have some little chocolates. So we got all this stuff because we wanted to show some people how to celebrate on a budget, right? So the strawberries cost us $4. Sparkling cider.
No, they were actually $2.50.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because they were 2 packs for. That's right. We were greedy, so we got 2 packs. So it actually was $2.50. The sparkling cider was $3, and the little chocolates were in the Dollar Tree for $1. So, and the roses were $4 from Walmart. So
on Dollar Tree balloons.
And on Dollar Tree balloons. Yes. So you can decorate up and make it really nice. Put some candles out. A lot of times men say, well, I don't know how to cook. A lot of times men say, I don't know how to cook. You can melt some chocolate, any kind of chocolate, dip the strawberries in, roll them in any kind of graham crackers. It's really easy, and make it really romantic that way. Listen, our time is running really quickly. We have to take a break, and we'll be right back with Is Love Enough?
Looking for something to spice things up this Valentine's Day? Well, you can discover how you can rock the bedroom.
Welcome back to Is Love Enough? Where we're talking about the topic
under the covers and how to keep it spicy. Yes.
Right. So before the break, we had a question about hanging out with the boys, right? So one of the things we didn't address, I want to go back and say, is that it is not really a healthy thing for married couples, women or men, to have a lot of time hanging out with single people, whether boys or girls, because it can introduce things in your relationship that should not be there. It can put extra pressures there. It can put extra thoughts there. It can put a lot of stuff there that is not good for a married couple. So I tell people, if you have to hang out with the boys or the girls, it needs to be a limit. It needs to be talked about and discussed what that limit is. It should not be every weekend. It should not be every week. It should be a very limited amount of time. And then both parties should agree upon who the boys and who the girls are. Because let's be honest, there are some people who are toxic, who is not good for a relationship.
Yes, because I mean, hanging with them all the time, especially the single one, what do they have in common? I mean, I'm married, and all the time I'm hanging out with my single friends, you know, and sometimes it leads, okay, either I'm gonna draw them or they draw me, and then no, because at the end of the day, you have to go back home to your spouse.
And single people don't have the same responsibilities, and they don't have the same commitments. So they may want to do some things that will challenge or ruin your commitment. So you have to be careful.
Yes, very careful.
And let's talk about this, Pastor, before we go on. Let's talk about what intimacy is before we pick the next question out. That's for a brief minute, because a lot of people think intimacy is simply sex and don't understand that intimacy is a deep connection.
Yeah, it's a deep connection. It's a deep closeness between you and your spouse, you and your significant other. It's the closeness that you share. It's the bond. It's the closeness, the touching, the connection. To me, that's what intimacy is.
And the connection of intimacy that enhances the act, right?
Yes.
So when you're
very much so.
When you're connected and you have this strong connection with the person, then it makes the act that much more better.
Yes, it does.
So get connected first in a deeper way before you get connected in a sexual way.
That's right. I like that. Okay. This question is, my husband works all the time and he makes time for sex, but never intimacy. Wow. It leaves me feeling used and unloved.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, we didn't know we were going to pull that one out the top right there.
Wow.
I would say some of the same things I already said is that she needs to sit him down and have a very frank conversation about what intimacy is for her. Yeah. We cannot be afraid of having difficult conversations. I always tell people, have a difficult conversation does not mean you have to have an argument, right? Having a difficult conversation doesn't mean you have to say mean and hurtful things to one another. But you cannot be afraid of having a difficult conversation, because if not, nothing's ever going to change.
That's right.
So,
you got to have that line of communication, open, and learn your spouse's love language. Just like I know your love language. So you got to learn that. Once you learn that, I've always put that into effect. Your love language, and that works.
Yes, I always tell the boys, I learned to speak Karen, right? So I learned what Pastor Karen needs, wants, and desires. So I understand her love language. And so maybe giving him the benefit of the doubt, maybe he just doesn't understand what intimacy is. Maybe he doesn't understand how to be intimate. Maybe he's thinking he's reading her love language right when he's reading it wrong if there's never a conversation. And for most men that truly love their wives, again, I'm talking about men who love their wives. I'm not talking about men who are cheating and doing all this extra stuff. That's a whole different show. So I'm talking about men who love their wives. So if he really loves her, he wants her to be pleased anyway. So having that conversation might not be as difficult as she thinks. It may be a little awkward, but it may not be that difficult.
Just like you said, that line of communication, that maybe, like you said, maybe, but take those maybes and communicate and get it all on one level. And it cuts out the doubt. It cuts out the assumption, assuming that this is what I think she likes or what I think he likes. So that communication is definitely important.
It is. It's definitely important. It really is. And then it clears up so much of her stuff. And then once that difficult, I always say this, the difficult conversation only lasts for a moment, 5, 10 minutes, half an hour, whatever. After that, you still got all your day left to enjoy one another, to still have fun. Get that out of the way, let it go, and then still enjoy each other.
Exactly. Don't spend your whole day mad.
Yeah, or wondering or upset.
No.
You won't get to the spiciness.
Oh, yes. Okay, let's see.
Uh-oh.
My wife treats sex like a special occasion. Oh my. It only happens on birthdays and holidays. When I bring it up, it makes matters worse. I love my wife, but how do I get her to understand that this is destroying our marriage?
Ooh, want me to take it first? Or you go first.
You go ahead.
Okay, so
Whoa.
so he says when you bring it up, it only makes matters worse. All right, so Lord,
We have to talk about it.
Got to talk about it.
Yes.
First, I would ask him, has he tried to do different stuff other than a holiday or a birthday? Sometimes, if you already know a conversation is going to lead to an argument or lead to difficult times, then sometimes you have to do something different. So, like you were saying earlier, has he tried running the bath, right? Putting the candles out, laying out a negligee, getting some fruit, some strawberries, and
rose petals.
Oh, the rose petals,
Yes.
and sitting inside the tub and feeding her. Oh yeah. Feed her, man. And stuff like that. Has he tried any of that? Has he tried making a romantic meal? And if they have kids, putting the kids to bed and just having him and her time. What has he done other than just say, I need some sex. I need some sex. Because sometimes some women, that's a turnoff, even though they're married, even though they love him. Sometimes that is a turnoff. And the other thing I would say is find out, just like with men, is there something going on medically with her, or is there some underhidden trauma there?
Yes, because we need sex more than birthdays or holidays.
Mm-hmm.
The other days, we don't want to seem like the only time you desire me is like on my birthday or Valentine's Day. What about the other days?
Mm-hmm.
So we have needs as well that need to be met. So, that's a loaded question.
It is a loaded question. I would gather to think that since it's a woman, not a man, that maybe if there's not something medical going on, that maybe there's some underlying trauma there that she's not willing or feel comfortable enough or safe enough to share what's going on. So maybe if he takes her somewhere that's neutral and ensures her of his love, and then ask the questions, did something happen to you, baby? What's going on? I love you. You can confide in me. And maybe that will begin to work itself out. But first, what has he tried? What has he tried? Because as men, sometimes we just shut down altogether. All right, I'm not doing anything else. No, that's not really good. And then after you have exhausted the trying, and I'm not just saying do it one time and that's it, because in the back of her head she's gonna think, oh, this boy just wants some sex. So you got to do it more than one time. You got to do it more than one time, and you have to do it. You have to do it in a way that makes her feel safe, loved, and connected, void of the expectation of sex, which is hard for men to do. Because everything we do basically has that when it comes to us at the end of our minds. So you got you gotta try that. I would say.
Yeah, I think if you do all of that, and if you really want the marriage to work, you will try different things. You would just try more than one time. Some people try. Well, I tried one time and that was it. So to make this marriage survive, you have to try different stuff, try different avenues to see what works.
And counseling also. We're marriage counselors. So counseling also. And I tell people a lot of times counseling can really help. But go to a counselor that is neutral, that is neither your friend or your spouse's friend. So it is a neutral counselor that can listen to both sides and give you the right advice, guide you in the right way to get you to where you need to be.
Oh, okay. It says, my wife and I both have demanding careers and we have small children. Lately, when it comes to intimacy, my wife says she's too tired or she has several things to do. How can I make Valentine's Day steamy?
Well, I think his intimacy, because that's a man question. A guy wrote that, right? Sent that in, right? He said, "Mark." So I think his intimacy. I think he's talking about sex. He's saying that she's too tired. That they both had demanding jobs, and they both have demanding jobs.
They both have demanding careers, and they have small children.
They have small children.
And when it comes to intimacy, my wife says she's too tired or she has several things to do.
Well, I would start out by again asking him what has he done to try to alleviate some of the stress. Has he tried putting the kids to bed early? Has he tried cleaning up the house? Has he tried cooking dinner for her? What has he done to alleviate some of her worries? Because the truth of the matter is that though men and women sometimes both work, yes, the house, whether good, bad, fair, whatever, indifferent, the house and the kids normally falls on the wife, right? So the husband comes home, he may do a little something, and then he goes and he's done. But the bulk of it falls on the wife. So I know our time is running out. So I would say to him, try alleviating some of her stress and some of her pressures in the household, and then try doing something romantic that way, and I guarantee it will connect. Yeah. So we have to close our show on how to keep it spicy. So let's do a toast.
Okay.
To you, Pastor Karen.
And to you, Bishop Lightner.
I know our Valentine's Day is going to be lovely and spicy.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us. That's good.
That's real good.
Thank you for joining us on Is Love Enough?
Our Valentine's Day edition.
Bye, guys.
Bye.